today is a teacher as well as a young adult and middle grade author whose works include Eris Apparently, Her Rebel Highness, and Rainbow Fair, which I believe came out this year. But another book of hers that has come out this year is Force of Chaos, a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers novel, and I cannot wait to pick her brain about that. Miss Diana Ma is here with us. Miss Diana, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so straight off the bat here, what's the book about? Obviously, it says Mighty Morphin Power Rangers novel, but what else can you tell us?
So it is, of course, a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger novel. But what I think makes this unique is that it is from Trini Kwan's point of view. So it's her origin story, and it's her story about gaining the confidence and really coming into her own to become the Yellow Ranger and part of the
Yes,
team.
Trini the Yellow Ranger, as those of us who grew up with the show know.
Yeah.
So were you a Power Rangers geek growing up, Miss Diana? Is that were you or did you come into it later? When did you become
Yeah.
acquainted with it?
Yeah, thank you for that question. This is I have to make a confession here. So
Okay.
I I am not in the demographic, or I was not in the demographic for Power Rangers when Mighty Morphin first came out. So it first came out in
Okay.
the early 90s, and this is going to completely date me now. I was a college student. So,
Okay. Okay.
which means I was way older than the demographic of Power Rangers. But I still watched the show. But I had to sneak,
Really?
yes, I had to sneakily watch the show because, it's not cool for college students to be watching a show from middle graders. And I had roommates. So when they were gone early in the morning, if they were still asleep, I'd sneak an episode or two. So,
Right.
yeah, so I did watch it, but not regularly.
Okay, okay. Did you have a favorite episode or a favorite moment from the show that pops out? Anything along those lines?
Oh, it was so long ago. This was in the 90s.
Oh
So,
yeah, no, we know.
but there is definitely one thing I remember, and the whole reason
Okay.
I watched the show was because of Trini Kwan, the Yellow Ranger. I had not seen Asian superheroes in mainstream television, and
Hmm.
it was a revelation to me, and I loved it because I love superhero movies. I love martial arts. I love all the things, and then to have Trini Kwan, an Asian female superhero on TV, was amazing to me. So I watched it for Trini, really.
Excellent. And the dedication page in this book
Yes.
mentions Tui Trang, the actress who played
Uh,
Trini. You say, "Thank you for being the superhero so many of us needed." So, I mean, I can only imagine, I'm a white dude. There's tons of superheroes out there that look like me, but I mean, I can only imagine, what that's like, not just to have an Asian character to see and identify with, but an Asian female character.
Right. For me, it felt like I was being seen. Like my
Hmm.
view and who I was being reflected in television, and that meant that I had worth. My identity had worth. And so it was really profound, actually. And I love the character. She was always so positive and so team oriented, and she was friends with everyone, and I just thought she was great.
Now, okay, so we fast forward here.
Mhm.
So how do you become involved with the project that eventually becomes Force of Chaos? You've got this knowledge of the show in your background here, but
Right.
how does this book come about?
Um, I am very, very lucky. So
Okay.
my publisher, Amulet Books, they were the publisher for Eris Apparently and Her Rebel Highness, which were very different books, right? Not superhero books at all. But fortunately, my editors liked what I did with those books. And so when they got the licensure with Hasbro to work on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, they contacted me and said, would you be interested in doing this brand, and how comfortable would you feel with action scenes? And I said, I've been waiting to write action scenes. Please, let's
Nice.
do this. So they said, well, you would have to do a deep dive. And I said, yep, this is the most amazing research project I've ever been given. So
Hmm.
so I dove, and because I hadn't watched it since I was going to say a kid, but I wasn't a kid since I was a college student.
I
Um,
was going to ask, you must have had to do like a marathon binge watch of the first season of the show.
I did, to refresh my memory of what the show was, and then,
Hmm.
but really, my deep dive was the Boom Studio comics because I love the aesthetic of what they did there, and I needed to age up. So they were looking for young adult, and the shows are much younger.
Yes.
So yeah, so thinking about okay, the aesthetic, the vibe, the feel of it, I really loved what Boom Studio did, and so I borrowed from some of their themes, some of their storylines, but really wanted to also make it my own as well.
Hmm. Yeah, more on Boom Studios and
Yeah,
the aging up of the property in a bit, I think. But
yeah.
okay, to pause for a second. Okay, so your website, dianamaauthor.com, lists you as not only an author, but an anti-oppressive educator.
Yes.
Now, for your purposes, Miss Diana, what does that mean? Can you talk to us about some of the work you've done in that regard? And we're going to tie that in to Force of Chaos in just a minute. But
Sure.
can you tell us what that means?
Yeah. So I've been an English teacher for over 25 years now. I teach college,
Hmm.
and I've always been interested in teaching from a social justice lens. So it is very much focused on dismantling racist practices and design in the classroom.
Hmm.
And so for me, it was a natural step to look at curriculum design and practices and educational justice and think about what it would be to teach in a way that allows children not only to see themselves reflected in diverse books, but to be free to express who they are. And
Hmm.
that actually is the focus of a book that's coming out tomorrow. And that is Anti-Oppressive Universal Design for Teachers Building Equitable Classrooms. It's my first
I
academic book.
was gonna say I saw that. I wasn't sure if it had come out or was coming out, but it's coming
Yeah,
out this
tomorrow.
month.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Excellent.
July 9th.
Okay, excellent. So you've got now this opportunity to write this book from Trini Kwan's perspective. Trini, of course, being, I believe she was Chinese American on the show, and
Yeah, she was her father was a Taiwanese businessman and her mother
okay,
is Korean. And so
okay,
yeah.
not necessarily. Okay, okay, fair enough.
So,
Uh,
but open enough.
yes,
Taiwanese businessman is open enough to be Chinese
I
potentially.
think what threw me off is I think she quoted a Chinese proverb in an episode. It was
Yeah.
either way. So we've got the Trini character, and we've
Yes.
got this project now that so readily addresses and incorporates, her Asian heritage and her culture. How important is it that we see diversity in our hero characters? Characters, not just the Power Rangers, but our superhero characters,
Yeah.
hero characters in general.
Oh, you're talking my language now. So,
Okay.
absolutely important. It is the cornerstone of my writing, of my teaching, of my being. As someone who grew up obsessed with superheroes, but not really seeing myself reflected, I know how important it is for children, for adults too, for everyone to see ourselves as the heroes in the stories that
Hmm.
we read and watch. So for me, it's why I do what I do. It's why I write. It's why I teach. So I don't know how else to say it except it's extremely important to
Absolutely,
have
absolutely.
that full representation.
I didn't even realize how important it was until I had my children. I have two young daughters,
Mm-hmm.
and my older daughter, who's about 6, really identifies with Spider Gwen, the Gwen
Oh yeah,
Stacy version
yeah,
of
yeah,
Spider-Man.
yeah.
So, but it's the kind of thing that if you were raised in a position of privilege, I guess you don't really think about.
Hmm.
But, once, like I said, once I had children, it sort of clicked for me. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Oh, it totally makes sense. I didn't start writing for kids until I had children.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started thinking about what kind of world do I want for my children, I want a world where it's possible to be anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And so in many ways, my children inspired me to write. And also other authors. I mean, so many BIPOC authors are writing their stories now. There's
Mm-hmm.
so many more books. The even the superhero shows are much more diverse than they used to be. And so all of this
Right.
is just a world of greater possibility that I'm so excited to be a part of.
Now, I mean, on a Power Rangers project, you inherently have geeks like me who will
Yeah,
come into it with, having grown up with these characters. And of course, what you're doing, it's not a retro book, it's a modernized take.
right, right.
So, did you feel like the pressure of, oh, I got to get this right, I got to get these right, or got to get these characters right, that is, or was it more, okay, this is my sandbox that I'm playing in now? Was it more that kind of thing?
Rob, I was so nervous because you're right. People are passionate about the Power Rangers, and I wanted to honor that and respect that. I do honor and respect that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at the same time, I really felt like to write this authentically, I had to do it in a way that felt right to me. And maybe it
Mm-hmm.
was going to be different from what people would expect or want. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I tried my best to treat these characters with love because I do love these characters
Mm-hmm.
so much, and do my research and create a world that hopefully pays homage to the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but creates a new inclusive Power Rangers as well.
Mm. So now we mentioned the aging up
Yeah.
of the franchise a little bit.
Mhm.
You've got Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power. Well, I guess Power Rangers in all of its incarnations is a show that's meant for, I guess, young elementary school aged
Yeah.
kids. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we're directing this book at more or less a YA audience, a young adult audience.
Yes. Yes.
And with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers came villains like Rita Repulsa, who's got like the pointy Madonna bra. She's got the weird hat. She's got,
Mhm.
some campy lines. We've got the Putty
Yeah.
Patrollers. We've got Goldar. Villains that aren't necessarily meant to always be looked at in a super serious light.
Right. Right.
Um, what was that process like for you creatively to sort of shift that perspective in terms of these villains?
Yeah. It was so much fun, to be honest. Because,
Yeah?
yeah, I mean, the campiness is part of what makes them fun. So I didn't want to lose it completely, but I want it
Mm-hmm.
to be more ironic, kind of wink wink, where the characters would say, Rita Repulsa? Really? You call
Mm-hmm.
yourself that? And then,
Mm-hmm.
and so I really wanted to lean into it the way I love teenagers. I mean, I have one child who is a teen and another one who's almost there. He's in that tween area, and they are so snarky and sarcastic and
Mm-hmm.
hilarious, and I love that. I'm going to eat my words, I know, when I say
No,
I love
that's
that. I don't always love it, but oftentimes I love that.
right.
And so it was sheer delight to write teenagers who had, you know, I have to say it, teenagers with attitude. So,
There you go.
right. So leaning into the campiness, but in a way that's sinister because I think self-aware villains who are playing with that campiness and is a very serious, scary thing.
Hmm.
I think Rita is a scary villain because she's smart, she's self-aware, she is unapologetic about who she is,
Hmm.
and I don't want to get too much into the book, but I think that Trini a little bit admires that about Rita. even
Hmm.
though Rita is the villain, because these are qualities that she lacks, at least at the beginning, and is envious of.
Now, how much of, obviously Trini is a young Asian girl.
Mhm.
If I may, how much of your own story, how much of yours, because every
Yeah.
author, I think, puts some of themselves into what they write.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
how much of yourself did you put into this book, if any?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I absolutely did. I think at the beginning of my writing career, I thought I'm writing characters completely different from me. None
Hmm.
of my own story will ever be in my characters, and I realized very quickly that that was impossible. So
Hmm.
now I don't even bother trying. I just let whatever arises. I don't bother trying to not let myself seep in. I just let whatever arises happen. So I was a very, very painfully shy kid.
Okay.
I was in elementary, middle school, high school. And so Trini's shyness, her social awkwardness, her desire to fit in, her consciousness of how people view her is very much drawn from my own experiences.
Okay.
Unfortunately, her experience with racist bullying is also drawn from my experience. And
Okay.
it's kind of a little bit of a wish fulfillment because I would have loved to have had secret superhero powers like Trini. So having her come into
Naturally.
that power was really cool for me to write.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so in the acknowledgments
Mhm.
section of the book, one name that you mention is Ryan Parrott. Now,
Yes.
Ryan Parrott has written all kinds of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comics. He wrote the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossovers, I believe. Can you discuss his influence on Force of Chaos? Because I mean, I noticed there are commonalities between his version of the Power Rangers universe and the version we see here. Like, and we're not going to get into spoiler territory here, but like, for instance, Kimberly getting fired from or
Yeah.
excuse me, Zach getting fired from a job,
Yeah. Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
What was Ryan Parrott's influence on the book?
You know what's interesting is that at the beginning, when I when I wrote the book, he had no influence whatsoever. So I just
Okay,
really was drawn to, I was really drawn to the storylines that he wrote for the Boom Studio comics, for the Power
okay,
Ranger comics. And then at some point in the editing process, and this was after I think I had written I'm trying to remember if I had written one draft or two drafts, but I had written a full draft at least. My
hmm,
editor came to me and said, "Oh, Hasbro has a Power Rangers expert that they would like to come in and take a look at your draft and give you some feedback." And I was like, "Oh, great!" Because if
okay,
there's any stuff I've messed up in terms of canon, I really want someone to look at it. And she
hmm,
said, "Yeah, his name is Ryan something." And I was like, "Wait, would it happen to be Ryan Parrott?" And she
hmm.
looked at it and she said, "Yeah, actually it is." And I was like, "Whoa, that's amazing that Ryan Parrott is going to be looking over my draft." So I had
Hmm.
already incorporated the storyline of Zach getting fired, and the things that I thought were just such great character developing story arcs. And so and Ryan was really helpful. He gave me all kinds of this isn't canon and
Yeah.
that doesn't happen unless, and which was really, really helpful for me because I don't want people to feel like I'm disrespecting the canon or the work.
It sort of goes back to the whole people like me who are really passionate and have been grown up with these characters. It's
Yeah.
so it sounds like he kind of spotted you as you were lifting the weight, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think I had done a lot of research, but there, there's a few things that I'm going to miss. And so I was really
Hmm.
grateful that he caught those things.
Inevitably, yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
the universe is so expansive, and you've got, various different versions of different things. It's
Right.
I'm sure it's confusing in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, but really cool.
Oh, absolutely. You're preaching to the choir on that one.
Right.
So, okay, my understanding is
Mhm.
that Force of Chaos is the first book in what's going to be a series. Is that the case? And if it's the case, can you is there anything you
Yeah.
can tell us about future books in said series?
Okay, that was a great segue from our previous conversation about it's so expansive and there's so many things. So I some of it is a little bit up in the air, but there is at least
Okay.
one other book. So there is
Okay.
at least there's definitely going to be a book two. I've written it,
Okay.
or
So
am
it
in the
is
process
you.
of writing it. Yeah. So
Okay.
and I don't know how much I could tell you about it, but I'm going to anyway.
Oh
Um,
boy.
so I'll
Don't get
just
yourself in trouble.
no, I think it's fine. They were Hasbro and Amulet. I do need to say they've been wonderful to work with. They've been so open to my ideas and my pitches, and so I felt very much included in the process and given free reign. So it was not
Okay.
here is the topic, here's an outline, write this. It was, what do you want to write about? And we'll let you know if that works. And they've always said, yeah, that works, go for it. So
Okay.
it's always been on my bucket list to write a multiverse novel.
Okay.
And like everyone else, every other Power Ranger fan, I'm a huge fan of the Shattered Grid uh,
Okay.
storyline.
The
But
the big comic book crossover
yes,
that Kyle Higgins and all those folks wrote
yes,
for Boom
yes,
Studios.
yes. And but it's going to be my own spin. So
Okay.
so it's going to be different. But
Okay.
I think I can say it is a multiverse novel, and it will still have Trini's point of view.
Okay, that because that was going to be my question. Are we still seeing
Yeah,
this from Trini's point of view?
you're still
I
seeing
have
it.
to say I did not expect that to be. I don't know what I expected, but I did not
Yeah,
expect that to be the answer. So I'm very curious to see what you're cooking here.
I think it will be fun. So I'm
Well,
excited.
I mean, if the first book is any indication, it'll definitely be fun. I just as we wrap up here, I have to commend you because, you know, any book, any project that can prompt you to see the world from a different point of view is really valuable, especially I think in the world that we live in today. And there were moments as I was reading Force of Chaos, things that Trini would say or things that Trini would, you know, ponder that really clicked with me and that I never thought of that.
Mhm.
So I think that Force of Chaos works really well, not just as a Power Rangers novel, but as a YA novel and a book that can really broaden your perspective. It's if that's what you're looking for.
Thank you so much. That really means a lot to me to hear you say that. Thank you.
Is there anything else that you would like to add, Miss Diana?
I think I had touched upon the fact that Hasbro and Amulet have been really great to work with. I just want to give a quick little call out to my editor, Claire, because she has been really
Okay.
fantastic to work with and has just been so much fun. That's the other thing I want to say. It's been so much fun. And one of the things that I say in the acknowledgments is that I wanted to thank the fans for loving this franchise. I love Power Rangers, and having to say that this has been such a delight coming back to the Power Rangers, and I'm now a complete diehard fan. Um, and the fandom has been really welcoming. I mean, I told you I was nervous, but
Hmm.
there's been just like really sweet welcome to the Power Ranger family. So I really appreciate that. So I want to thank everyone who's welcomed me into this family.
Excellent. Force of Chaos, a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers novel, is available now. Miss Diana Ma, ladies and gentlemen.